Thanks for tuning in to Bitches Be Cray. Just a quick reminder, everything we share on this show reflects our personal experiences and what's worked for us. We're not healthcare professionals, so if you or someone you know is dealing with a medical or mental health concern, please reach out to a qualified professional for support. What's up, bitches? Welcome to Bitches Be Cray. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nancy. And today we're going to be talking about friendship breakups.
And we're live in studio today. We've been doing these remotely, but today we are together because we're having a friendship day.
We are. We're going to have I don't even know if we should tell them what we're doing because that might be a little traumatic. But we're going to have a little day. We're going to celebrate each other's birthdays together.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We're going to go on a walk.
We're going to go to a burger bus.
A burger bus.
Must, you guys. It's a must in Georgia. If you live in Georgia, Ball Ground.
Yeah, Ball Ground, Georgia. Cute little town. Little bus. Good food.
So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Amanda, tell us about your friendship breakups.
All right. Because, yeah, you know, people talk about breaking up with their lovers, their boyfriends, their girlfriends all the time. There's all kinds of songs and movies, but there's not a lot about breaking up with a friend. But sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it happens just naturally because you drift away. And sometimes there's reasons why you just shouldn't be friends with people. So, yeah, I'll start with one that happened kind of recently for me. It was with someone. It's hard for me to even say they were a friend because conversations we've had.
They're not friends.
Right. It's made me think I thought we were friends all these years, but it was more as if I was being used, you know?
Oh, no, that bitch was not your friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So basically, let me just go back a little bit to how our friendship started, how it evolved, and you'll kind of see where we went here. But when I started teaching, this person started shortly after me. And so we were kind of brand new, and we were both older. And we weren't old, but we were older than somebody normally just starting out teaching. So, you know, we felt a little different, a little out of place than other new teachers. And I think we bonded over that. And also, we were just on a new team, going through new experiences and things we hadn't done before. So, you know, and we were both put on a team of people who'd been on the same team for lots of years. So we just kind of naturally became friends or acquaintances.
It seemed right? Sometimes you think it seems right and you think it's oh, it's meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it felt. So that first year we were on the same team, and the second year actually. And, you know, so we saw each other weekly in team meetings because that was happening. And we didn't really hang out together outside of work. We might have had dinner or something if there was a late night school event kind of thing. And we both had to stay around, but that was probably about the extent of friendship outside of work. But the third year that I was at that school, I moved to a different grade level, and she ended up staying in the same grade level. And I just kind of noticed right away that her responses to texts and stuff just were not there. She would either not respond for a really long time or sometimes not respond at all unless she needed me to show her how to do something. She wanted to borrow something of mine, or if there was some kind of juicy gossip going on.
Can I be devil's advocate?
Yeah.
So we've been friends for 15 years, and there's times where I don't reply to you and you don't reply to me, and then we catch up the next day around 12, and that doesn't mean we're shitty people.
No, the next day, cool. I'm talking days, weeks.
Oh, okay. We do that sometimes in the afternoon something happens or something happens to you, and we're just oh, and then the next day was okay, hey bitch.
Yeah, but
it's not something that ruined our entire friendship.
Well, that's true, but also you and I have been friends for a long time, and we have
I'm not saying
a trust factor. So I know that
bitch is by any means correct, but
no.
Can we say texting back immediately is bad friendship? I don't know.
Right. No, I know. I don't think that's true. But I'm talking days. I'm not talking 30 minutes later, you still didn't text me next day. 4 days later, oh, I didn't get back to this. And I see this version, you're on your phone all the time. What do you mean? But anyway. So I was just that's kind of weird. That's weird that that's happening. And so somebody else on my new team, her and I were just chatting one day. I don't remember why I was upset about her not responding to me, but something maybe it was something important to me, I guess. And she didn't. And I'm just why do I feel like this? It kind of feels like you're in a relationship and someone's ignoring you. And it was kind of, I don't know. It was just weird. I'm
it triggered something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just why am I feeling like this? So my friend though, she was a little bit older than me. She's why don't you just tell her like how you're feeling. And I was just like, what? People do that? Like, I guess, like, obviously that makes sense, but I'm just like, what? I'm like non-confrontational for the most part. And like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I was like, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, why not? Like, what's going to happen? She probably wouldn't even respond. But she did respond. I don't remember if it was like a long time or a short time, but she was basically like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I definitely didn't mean to, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought to myself, okay, she just wasn't aware. And it'll be fine. So time went on. I don't recall if she was responding or not at that point. I guess I'd let it go a little bit. But I used to have these game nights, and I would always invite like a lot of people from work. And I always invited her, and she never came. She never necessarily promised to come. She just always wanted to be invited. And there was definitely like once or twice that she did say she was coming. Then like day of, she's like, "Oh, I can't because XYZ." She is a single mom, but her, and your parents don't have to help you with your family and your children, of course. But her parents lived across the street. I'm just saying, there's been other times she's been out with other people, so it's not like you can't literally leave your house, but. Like she always used that as an excuse. Oh, I have to go do this. But she found out somebody at school was talking about one of my parties. Like they had a good time. It was probably like an ugly sweater Christmas kind of thing. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you had a party?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I had a game night. I normally have one like around like the seasons or. And she's like, "You didn't invite me?" And I'm like, "Well, you never come. So I just decided, like, why keep inviting you,
I
basically."
think people like to be invited.
Well, that's what she said. She's like, "Well, it's nice to be invited, but like it almost hurts my feelings that it feels like rejection every time that you don't show up."
I mean, not to play devil's, I'm a single mother, and there's a lot of things that I cannot do.
You came to everything, even when your kid was a baby.
Oh, when I brought her.
So that's fine.
So you were okay with her bringing the children?
She never asked if she could, but yeah, I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I brought her. I mean,
I'm like, Nancy showed a little baby on her hip. Here we are.
I mean, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's
if you wanted to, you would.
No, I don't know if you wanted to. You would work with when you're parenting alone. I don't want to cast out the single mothers. But I mean, I am fortunate that I do have a lot of support. Mm-hmm. But I do have guilt to ask people to help me with my children. I do. Yeah. So it takes a lot for me to, usually I try to plan my events around her going with her father, but I do have that guilt. So I don't know, like, are you a shitty, let's go back to, are you a shitty friend? I mean, she's a shitty friend. The story goes on and she ends up being, but what I'm saying is like, do you think she didn't have the support? Or she just legitimately was making excuses? Like, or was that what you felt and it might not even be?
I mean, who knows the truth, right? I think for me, the reason why it felt like an excuse is because it's like you would know about these events ahead of time. Like the once or twice she was like, "Oh yeah, she's like, I'm coming this time." Like there was only like one time. I think it was probably like one time. She's like, "Yes, I'm definitely coming," because she knew by then I was bothered by it, right? And but like you knew so far in advance, you act like you already had plans. I will say her like baby daddy does not live close by, so it's not like he could help. But I mean, her kid is around the same age as mine, a little younger, but like so one could have brought the kid if she wanted to.
Which well, he can say, "Motherfucker, stay alone."
Well, I mean, there's that too.
Oh my God, I literally started with that.
Well, she never wanted her kid to stay alone. Like for the longest time, she waited, and I get it. But still, her parents live across the street. It's not like she was 5. Yeah. Anyway, all that it's whatever, right? But so she never came, and so I literally stopped inviting her, and I was like, whatever. I don't care if you're upset about this or not because I've invited you like 20 freaking times and you've never come. So we kind of like, I feel like our friendship was like at a drift for like a year or so. Then we ended up on the same team again. And honestly, it kind of just felt weird. Like at first I'm like, oh, maybe we'll actually be friends again. But it really just kind of felt like awkward, probably because I already had these feelings and she like whatever. But I noticed like I would be irritated because of the whole past situation of stuff. But then when I would see her and we would have a conversation, I'm like, I'm probably just making this more of a thing because it felt like normal. Like I didn't have it. I'm like, oh, actually I like having these conversations with her. We're like on the same page about so many things. Like it felt fine when we were together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just the lack of communication and effort if we weren't in the same room, there was like no effort there. So
some people are not good telephone communicators.
I mean, yeah.
She sounds like an ex-boyfriend.
I mean, really, I know. But she has her phone all the time. I mean, but yes, that doesn't mean you're going to talk. It doesn't mean you're going to communicate.
Yeah, because
right?
my sister-in-law, if you look at her phone, she has like 1,000 voicemails unheard, and she has over 500 text messages unread.
Oh my God, that's savage.
Like if something detrimental is happening to me, if I want her support, I need to call her. So,
I mean, she is older than me, so maybe
she could be suffering from all. I mean, why am I defending her? Keep going.
I mean, no, she probably has went through a lot, but still, hello, have a friend to be there for you, but it's what it is.
But did you want her to be a friend to be there for, or you just want her to be some casual bitch?
No, I thought we were friends. Like there was like a time that we'd all went to like, I say we all, like me, her, and I don't remember who it was, somebody else. And we brought our kids, like, well, not all the kids, but the kids that made sense to all go. And we're like, oh, we should do this more often. But then of course the more often never came. But so we were on the same team, and I still noticed, I'm like, surely now that we're on the same team again, because remember I was like, the communication was fine when we were on the same team. I'm like, oh, and I would say it was probably a little better, but it's still like, even for work related stuff, I'm like, really? So anyway, what happened was we just kind of started drifting apart. The next year we were off the team again. I was like, you know what? I'd already had so much, I don't know if resentment's the word. I was just like so irritated about everything. I'm like, I don't even care anymore if we're friends or not. Like that's how I felt in the moment. And then she became really good friends with this other person who I ended up becoming friends with as well. And then it was kind of at a point where I was moving on from that school. They were also moving on from that school. And then we had one other friend in the mix that, I mean, I'm not going to say names, but so now there are 4 of us, and we're like, oh, we should have kind of like
a friend.
Yeah, like it's almost like not like a goodbye, but like a goodbye to that chapter in our life, because we'd all been at the same place, and we were kind of, well, one person was going to stay, but the rest of us were going in different directions. We're like, you know what, let's go, celebrate. And it was like such a nice little dinner situation, and it felt so natural and normal and right, and everybody was vibing. And I'm like, yeah. And everybody, like, it wasn't even me. Everyone was like, we really should do this like once a month. And
you were on a high.
Yeah, it was great, right? And so I'm like, yeah, we could totally do this once a month. We got a little group chat. We named it. It was so cute.
Oh,
And I mean, we did that with a friend too, and that didn't turn out so good. That should have been a sign. Actually, I think I did this other one.
You're the crazy bitch that does that.
I should. I mean, I think this other one was the first one. But anyway, so we started trying to plan like regular things, and here and there that person would come, and sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they like, that's not going to work for us. That's not going to work for me. Just go without me. And the person in the group that she was like super close with, like always wanted to wait for her. She's like, oh, like, let's wait. And I'm just
That's not.
I was like, okay. So we did a time or two, but when it kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed, eventually we just kind of like, fine, you say go without you, we will, because we're all the rest of us are waiting to hang out. Like so we did finally go and hang out like alone. And, we still had our group chat together, and I just noticed like that person pretty much like was not responding in the group chat to anybody, not just specifically to me, but to anybody. And a different girl had said, a girl in the group chat had said like that she'd came to visit the school or something like the next year, and she's like, we like went to dinner like 2 months ago. She didn't even come by and say hi to me. Like, she's like, that's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, it is, because we're like in a group chat. We're like chatting about all kinds of stuff, except she never says anything. And it's just so weird. I don't know. And so I'm like, you know what? I had already said something to her years ago about her communication and stuff. And I know that this person got upset about it because she never, ever, ever talked in our group chat. Like, she knew that we went. And I'm like, I don't know why you're upset that we went without you. You literally said, go ahead and go. And so, like, why are you mad that we are not mad, but like, butthurt that we won't? But it's just like, you said to go, you know what I mean? So then I was just like, you know what?
How old is she again?
I don't know. Older than me, a few years older than me, at least.
Okay.
So not young. I think what bothered me too is I see her I think what bothered me was like, why was my friendship not important enough to put?
I don't think this is about her, girl. It's about you.
To put effort in. But because I see her do it with other people that I know, like she'll post pictures, like I think on purpose, of like other people, like she's like going, and I'm just like, but you can't even respond to our group chat. So our group chat, we just pretty much everybody just stopped talking in it because we're like, this is weird. We're not doing this anymore. I did not have an official like, hey girl, we're not gonna be friends anymore because this is not working out. You're not.
So you guys are still dating essentially. Yeah, broke up.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to ask her to hang out with us anymore because she's made it pretty clear she doesn't want to be a part of this little friendship group. So she sees somebody on the side from the group, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's not like we pushed her out. She just didn't show up. So it is what it is. But I do wish.
But those people always feel pushed out.
Well, that's so true. Like a part of me, I went back and forth for so long. Like, should I say something to her? Not to rekindle the friendship, but just like, I almost want to be like, do you remember years ago when I said like you're not there?
I don't think you should.
I mean, I'm not. It's been too long now. Of course, I'm not going to.
That'd be creepy.
But I think maybe at the time, maybe I should have. I'm like, maybe I should have told her how I felt, and I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if anything would have changed or if it would have just been more awkward. But that friendship just had to wrap up. So yeah, at this point, I mean, I don't work in the same place with her anymore. And actually, I don't know anybody who works where she works. So we know a few similar people, but we have no like real connections anymore. So I don't see that we're going to cross paths or anything. But we are still friends on like social media.
I mean, I just think sometimes we just cling on to the wrong people for way too long. Like to me, that whole, when you told them, bitch, you were never friends. And you do have an MO of trying to make friends.
Yeah.
Like, you have how many fucking strays we have taken in. And like, where are they now?
Yeah. And I don't know why I'm like that. I don't know if I
think you want a friend group.
When I think of my childhood, like I always had a few close friends. So it's not like I was walking around friendless. And so it's like, maybe it's just that I don't want anyone to be left. Like, I don't know if it's.
And it's always the fucking weirdest people that you've never fucking would ever see together.
See, and maybe that's what it is.
Like odd, like you pick up the fucking strays from the animal shelter nobody wants.
Yeah. Like I kind of feel like when I started high school, my best friend, actually, my very best friend, we were friends like all through middle school, always together. She moved.
Oh.
And I was like, Mom, I'm being homeschooled. I ain't doing this without my best friend. You know what I mean? It was actually really hard for me.
Oh, that might be it.
Maybe that's it. So when I started my freshman year, I was hanging out with what I would consider like the misfits. Like I didn't even fit in with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It was like this girl who's a little bit older than me. She always, I don't know.
I mean, I feel the same way. I've never really, I'm not the pillar of the community when it comes to friendships, but some of the people that she brought along, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. I think maybe it was my experience hanging out with people who were kind of like what I would call the misfits. Cause after that, I would probably label myself just like a plain Jane normal, like nobody at school. Like I wasn't in sports. I wasn't in a band. I wasn't into anything. I wasn't like necessarily weird. I was just kind of like a plain, not like maybe like girl next door.
Like if you went missing, nobody would notice.
I mean, maybe because I was like really quiet. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like quiet. I was in the smart classes. I wasn't like a nerd though. I wasn't like that smart. Just like a little smart.
Like a normal.
Yeah, just like a normal, like girl next door, but not
nobody
as hot.
Nobody was picking on you. Nobody was like daunting over you.
Yeah, I was just like invisible. Normal. I was invisible. Oh. So I kind of hung out with like.
I wish I would have been invisible.
Oh, well. I think I started hanging out with the misfits and I'm like, you know what? These people are fine. They're cool. They're all very different from me and not like people I've hung out with thus far. So maybe it was that moment that made me think like I just kept, like you said, I
want to be the leader of the nerds.
Yeah, sure. I'm just like, everyone's cool in their own way. I'll be friends with anybody. If somebody don't want to be friends with them, I'll take them. So I do have that mentality. Definitely. All right. Well, that's all of my first one. That was my least toxic one. I have a more toxic one coming up later. But yeah, why don't you tell us about one of your friendships that had to end?
Well, this girl had been living in down, I guess, mid Georgia. I mean, in Metro Atlanta, whatever, for a while. And I mean, I've always had trouble making friends. And I mean, the people, I mean, I'm still friends with the girl, with the girl I met when I was 9 years old. So I'm still friends with Amanda. So I tend to not have a lot of friends, but then I tend to keep friends for like a really long time. So this girl, I met her. It was a tattle pawn place. It was one of, when I was in college. And
yeah, we've got to talk about your jobs one day because
I have like, oh my God,
Nancy has done
my God
everything. We're gonna have an episode.
Yeah, a whole episode about all my jobs. I'm a jack of all trades. So I was doing title lending and I was also doing a pawn shop, and I started working with this girl. Very like right off the bat, and I'm an aggressive bitch, and I'll come and say that any day. She was so aggressive, she fucking scared me. Like, and that says it all. Like, it was like. Yeah. It was like, I don't know, like a fucking witch meeting the devil. I don't know. It was a lot. So she was off-putting and I just didn't know how to read her. I didn't know, because I remember she had a pit bull when we first started hanging out. She had a pit bull, and I was like, I don't like pit bull. She was like, fuck you. But I didn't. And then later, and then 2 seconds later, she was happy. So I was like, it took me a while, and I'm like,
was she older or younger than you?
I think she was like 2 years older than me, maybe 3 years older than me. And I wasn't sure if that was like a kidding around, like, oh, fuck you, because it didn't sound like it. It was so serious. And then it kind of like turned me off. But then she was so nice after. I'm like, oh, maybe that's just her personality, because she was so intense. So then quickly I realized that underneath that, all that crazy, that she was a really kind person, and she was very giving and loving and sweet. So I did attempt the friendship, and we were friends probably for like 2-3 years, I think.
Wow, I didn't remember it lasting that long.
It was
Did you work at that place that long?
No, because remember, even after I left the title lending place, we were still friends. Like we kept the friendship. So, but I feel like I should have known that she was not my friend, because when I would come over to her house, I wanted to leave.
Oh.
Like I never felt, and I've never felt that before. Actually.
Like, was it like you didn't feel safe, or you just felt like a weird vibe, or you just didn't want to be there?
I don't know, because and the weird thing is that we were, at the time when we were working together, it was probably the brokest I've ever really been. Okay. So we were like both like basically like eating cheap and everything, because we were like so broke. So we were bonding over that, and we would talk on the phone a lot. Like she would be at work, and I would be at work, and we were like on the phone, and like we would hang out and stuff. And she would come to my house. But then when I would go to her house, I always felt like I wanted to leave. Like I never like, and she wanted me to spend the night. And I know we were friends for a long time, because I went to like four different places she lived at. She lived in, I'm sorry. And then she lived in another town like 2 hours away. And then she lived like college, like, but it just never felt right. And then red flags when she was living in is like, I asked her to take care of my dog so I can go on vacation. Yeah. And she did. And amidst of this, she had a bunch of family problems with her stepdad and all this, so I understood. And she told me her stepdad was a P. I don't even know if I should say it out loud, like a pedophile. Oh. And literally, he got put on bail for it, and she took him to her house. Like, she took him in when nobody would. And that, to me, I was like, oh my God, no. No. Like, that was I already had so many red flags. I never felt comfortable. She was quick to, like, one time we went out to eat, and she like cussed out the fucking waiter for no reason. Just like quick to fucking jump. And I tried to understand, because deep down, like I said, she was a good person. But that one night when she told me that she took her and her stepdad after he had just been put in jail. Oh, it was her stepdad. Yeah, but she grew up with him. Okay. But like, that was like her dad, because he was there for the better part of her childhood. Like, she took him in after he got out of jail for the whatever. I don't know. I was like, I gotta go get my fucking dog. That was my first fucking thought. And when I get there, I guess that whole scenario had really effed her up, that she like could try to commit suicide. When you were on your trip? Yeah. And no. This is when I went to get the dog. Oh. I mean, after the trip, after I came back from the trip. Like, I was like, after she told me, the day when I came back from the trip, and I was going to wait to go get the fucking dog the next day. But when she said that, I was like, and then I'm not a piece of shit. I was immediately worried. But when I got there, I realized that she really wasn't trying to commit suicide. She was just trying to get the guy that she's been having a situationship for years with attention. But she was also mourning the pedophilia situation that had just happened with her stepdad. That's a lot. And I just, when I got my dog and I left that place, I just knew I was never coming back. And I don't know if that makes me a bad person. I feel like the whole boyfriend thing, suicide thing, okay, but her taking in her pedophile stepdad after he got on bail for assaulting a child, that was it for me. Like, I just could not. But I just don't know how to leave. So I just left, and I ghosted her, and I never came back. So did she try to like... Oh, she did, but I just put her off, made excuses. Yeah. I couldn't.
I mean, yeah, it's like hard because you want to be there for somebody when they're going through that much stuff, but also, like you said, you were already in a bad place, and it's like you needed more friendship. Like, you know how they say, like, you got to remove yourself from people like that.
I mean, I feel like I could have put up with everything. Not put up with, but accept, because at the end of the day, like I said, she wasn't like a scum of the earth piece of shit, like worst bitch ever. But her telling me that, I was just like, And then the little girl that got assaulted, instead of like supporting her, they just turned her into the government. So I was just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Your mom, you, your dad, everybody, no. Get the F out of my life. So I'm not proud of it, but I fucking ghosted her.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that is what happens, you know?
That's probably, I mean, that's not my worst, obviously. That's like, I mean, that's it. Yeah.
That's the mild version.
That's the mild one.
No. All right. Well, my other one that I'm going to talk about, that's definitely more like a toxic vibe.
Oh my God.
Started when I was like 13. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I mean, when you're that age, you don't really understand red flags. But
so I didn't even know what red flags were back then, girl.
Oh gosh.
Come on.
I wish I did.
Me too.
Grossing a lot. But when I was like 12-ish, we started going to church, and I like became part of like this church little youth group. And at the time, it was pretty small, probably like no more than 15 people. And it was like that for like, I don't know, maybe like a year or so. And it just like kept growing. But in the initial little group, it was like some people who had been going to that church with their family for a long time, and then I guess a few new people. But I started this guy in the group, he like had a crush on me, and then he was friends with one of my friends, and then like we started dating, and he was like my age, maybe a year older than me, but I think we were in the same grade, so we were like the same age. And I guess we dated for like a year. That was like my first boyfriend. And we said we loved each other, but we were 13. That's not what I consider my first love. I don't know what that was, but it was like my first boyfriend. But we didn't really love each other. We didn't know, you know. But anyway, so during that time, he had a friend. And so, you know, at the church youth group, I mean, I was still kind of new, so I didn't really have a lot of friends. And my best friend at the time was a guy. And so it was like me, my guy best friend, and then the guy was dating, and then the guy was dating had a friend. And so like I just ended up hanging out with him when we were at the church stuff because I didn't have anybody else to hang out with yet. Like eventually my friends started coming with me, but that was like a while later. So like we're just all hanging out, and I'm just like, all right, everything's fine, everything's cool. Now my boyfriend at the time, his friend was like 3 years older than us, so I'm 13, and he might have been, by the time I'm 13, he's 16. 13, 16. Okay. That's the biggest red flag of all.
I'm sorry, but in the 90s, I was like a fucking acceptable.
That's ridiculous, but
it's not acceptable now. Hell no.
No.
But back in the day, it was so normal.
But my boyfriend was I was 13. My boyfriend was 13 or maybe 14. But
your boyfriend's not the friend, right?
No.
The friend is the guy 3 years older?
So it's, yeah, my boyfriend's friend. It's my boyfriend's friend. Your boyfriend's friend is this crazy motherfucker? Yes. Oh, that's how we know each other. So it was my boyfriend's friend that he'd known from church like all these years, and like we were just like in this friend group. And
this the guy your boyfriend was the guy that worked at the Piggly Wiggly?
No. That is a whole nother story. Okay. No, my boyfriend just we didn't even go to the same school. Anyway. This was just we saw each other at church. We didn't see each other outside church because his family like hated me, but that's not the point. So we saw each other at church, but somehow I don't even know how I found out. I don't know if his best friend, I wish we had names because there's a lot of characters. I don't know if he randomly at some point just told somebody like, I have a crush on Amanda, or if he straight out told me I have a crush on you. I don't know how I knew, or if it was the vibes. At some point I realized like, wait a minute, why does this dude like me? And at that time we'd already been friends. So we this is when people used to talk on the real phone. So we used to have like,
he called you on the phone?
Yeah, we used to have,
oh my God.
We used to have like, because like my best guy friend was there. He was also friends with, so, you know, we would just all like sit around on my house phone together. I mean, you have 2 house phones. And
your mom would let a guy come over to hang out with you?
This guy I've known since 4th grade. We were like best friends. It was never like that with us. So, I mean, that kid was like, Yeah.
Okay.
That kid was like part of my family.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
We literally told everybody at school we're cousins because I didn't want people to think we were dating because like he liked other people, I liked other people. Like we were literally just best friends.
Okay.
I miss him actually.
I've known him. I remember I met him.
Yeah, he changed a lot by then though, but that's fine. But so yeah, we would just like chat on the real phone. And I didn't think I don't remember anything weird happening or being said, but that's also when people used to write like handwritten little notes. You remember that? And you fold it up and so cute. So like every time I went to church on Sunday, I went to church on Wednesday, and I would always take notes for my boyfriend. He would usually have a note for me. And then like this other guy started writing me notes, and I'm like, oh, what is it? And at first they started out fine and friendly. And then at some point over the course of, I mean, was I 14? No, between ages 13, 14, this was happening.
How long did you date this motherfucker?
The first boy, 1 year. We were like a year-ish, and then I liked him for like a few months after. Like this was 8th grade, and then I remember 9th grade, I still liked him. But like halfway through 9th grade, I got over it and I moved on. But when we were dating, his best friend was writing me letters like confessing his love for me. Like, I wish I had the letters to read you. Like I read my diary. You
never told your boyfriend?
No, he knew.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knew. That dude's dad knew. And his dad was like, stop talking to your friend's girlfriend. And he used to like beat him over it. Yeah. And he didn't care. He'd call me anyway.
And yeah, you continue this friendship, and I literally had fucking Thanksgiving with this motherfucker like not too long ago.
Yeah, we haven't been friends for a long time.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so I can't remember all the details, but I just I do remember specifically him giving me a note one time. And when you opened the note,
it was pubic hair. I'm just kidding.
No. When you opened the note, it literally just said, I love you. Like the entire page, not like one big one. Like, I love you. Yes.
Oh, bitch.
Yes. And I'm just like,
you never told me this.
Oh no, it's in there. I found it buried in the depths here. And I was just like, what is going on? And yeah, I mean, we used to make fun of him. Me and my boyfriend and my best friend, like, why is this dude like this? I mean, really, I feel bad. It's just like, hello, I'm clearly.
To be clear, her husband and her still make fun of him.
Oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. My husband's met him though. But
exactly.
I don't know. So I was just like, what? And I think him and I did kind of become why are you laughing? Him and I became like close for a minute because when my boyfriend and I broke up, like he was my connection.
He stepped in?
No. I guess he tried, but no, like he, like I'm like, I really still wanted to be with him. And he and my ex-boyfriend, who was a complete a-hole, like he's just like all the other boys I like, not all the boys.
All the boys I really loved.
Actually, only my first love.
No, your first love was not a dick, bitch. You were a dick.
Just my second love, my whatever that was. He was like that though. He was like that. He liked the boy who had a crush on me. My ex-boyfriend liked his cousins. So it was just like a weird, I don't know. So, but he was my connection to him still. Even my best friend was, and this guy was. And so I would chat with him because I was talking to him about my ex-boyfriend, but he didn't care because he just wanted to talk to me, But yeah, so at some point I even liked one of his friends. And at some point I'm like, do you think you can like send me over? And I'm sure he was dead. But you know what? He cared about me, I guess, because he tried. And it was like, I mean, but that dude was too old for me, too. I was like 14. You were like 16, 17-year-olds. That's ridiculous. I did, however, go to prom with him. Do you remember I told you that? My freshman.
You went to prom with this fucking loser?
I went to prom with him. He knew we were. See, here's the thing. I was always very clear with him that we are just friends. But like he was in an infatuation bubble. I don't know. I guess he didn't hear it. Yeah, my freshman year of high school, I started dating this guy who turned out to be gay. And
I love him.
I actually wish we were gay. Like he was my gay best friend. I'm sad that that's not the case.
He's so cute. I
want that.
What was his?
We'll have to cut that out, maybe. No, that wasn't his name, but that was his friend's name.
Yeah, that was his friend's name.
I loved it. I mean, anyway. But at the time in high school, I had suspicions he might be gay, but he actually pulled off like you didn't know him before he was out. There was like some signs, but like he actually seemed kind of straight. And if you like saw his style and stuff, I could see him getting away with it. So anyway, so my freshman year, this guy and I were dating. We went to prom together. I guess I'd also told. I'm about to bleep it out now. I also told him that I don't know why I agreed to go with prom. I don't know if I felt bad for him. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted to go to prom.
Yeah.
Like I literally don't. I wear the same dress to both proms. I'm like, I'm wearing the same dress from JCPenney. It was lilac. Anyway, I was so skinny then too. I thought it was fat. I have
That's
to
my
find the
favorite.
picture. I mean, I see that picture. I'm like, oh my God, I was so skinny. Anyway, so I went to prom with him. Nothing weird like happened at prom. Like, I don't know if we had dinner. I mean, maybe we had
She
dinner.
lost her virginity to him that night.
Absolutely not. That did not happen. There was not a kiss. There was nothing. There was a hug at best. I mean, we probably had like a few slow dances. I don't think I fast danced, because I mean, I guess people are fast dancing. So booty dancing, as we called it back in the day. We were not doing that. Like, I gave him a few slow dances and I gave him some company. That was it. And I only went with him the 1 year. I never went to prom with him again. But I started like shortly, like our friendship was finally starting to die out because I stopped going to church over there and he was still going. But like that, thankfully that kind of severed our connection for a while. We probably, during this time too, that's when people were starting to talk on this how old I am. People started to talk on like messengers, right?
AOLs and shit.
Yeah. Yahoo. I always did Yahoo. So we probably would talk, I think we probably talked on there some, but we weren't communicating like, at that point, I think he knew we weren't going to be together ever and blah, blah, blah. So I started dating like my real first love the summer between freshman year and sophomore year of high school. And like, I didn't care about anything anymore except him.
Literally.
So I was like, everybody else can be, the earth can burn for all I care. But he did, he went to that church with me for a hot minute. So I don't know if he like met him, but he knew the situation and he was not cool with me talking to him, which fair. Like my first boyfriend should have been like, don't, you know what I mean? And he never cared.
What are you doing fucking daunting on my fucking girlfriend, you piece of shit?
Exactly. But it was never,
dude.
To my knowledge, it was never like that. But anyway, once I had my first love, like we didn't talk for years. I think it was my senior year of high school. And he was a little older, right? So he went off, moved away to college. He was dating somebody. He was engaged. I don't know if you know that. He was engaged.
I didn't think anybody would.
But that I don't know why it didn't work out. But it didn't work out. And
with Amanda.
Well, he has told me every girl he's ever dated, he always compares to me. I'm just like,
he has a mental illness.
I'm like over a crush when you were 6. I mean, first of all, why are you like a 13-year-old? Anyway, I can't with that. But somehow we were connected my senior year. I don't remember. I guess he wrote me or called me or who knows. All I know is at one point I was having a conversation with him and there was a girl at my school and I'm like, you know what? I think you would, because he was like really like religious. He wanted to be like a youth pastor or something. I don't know. And there was a girl at my school who was like super religious. And I'm just like, you know what? I could see you people together. Like,
she always tries to do that.
Yeah. I actually set him up with 2 of my friends before that. I'm
surprised you didn't set him up with me.
Yeah. Cause you were never going to do that. Are you kidding me? I would never do that to you anyway. But I was like, so I set them up and they dated for a long time. I actually thought that, like a year or two. I mean, a while, at least 1 year, maybe 2 years. I thought they were going to get married actually. But, their relationship didn't work out either. And she had a problem with how much he talked about me. She told me that later. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, by now this would have been, we would have known each other for like 4 or 5 years and he was still comparing girls to me. And I told him so many times, I'm like, listen, I'm like,
you what, bitch? When you feel like a piece of shit when you look in the mirror, be like, there's a motherfucker that I knew when I was 13 who's still comparing bitches to me.
And I think that's why I wanted to be friends with him so long.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say that I didn't want to be a bitch though.
No,
I didn't want to be a bitch, but
I think it was nice knowing somebody out there like cared about me.
Was that much obsessed? Like somebody would literally like cut my skin off and live in it,
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a creepy way to feel. But I think that was part of why I didn't end this whatever.
This was your ego, bitch.
Yeah.
He was like your go-to like pill for attention.
I was just like, he was never my backup plan ever. Like he was never,
I know.
He was never that, but it was just nice to know, like, if no one cares about me, no one's into me.
Oh yeah, I love you.
He's into me.
Yeah.
But so yeah, she did. She's like, he talked about you too. Like I'm just like, what's even left to say? We haven't even talked in years. What are you remembering? Freaking trip to Doe River Gorge. He brought that up all the time. And I'm like, we didn't even hang out. What do you mean? Saw me in a bathing suit. That was all it took. Just like, no, anyway, when she would like tell me that, because I've told him before, I'm like, I don't know why you like me so much. I said, if you dated me, you wouldn't feel this way. Ask anybody that's ever been with me. They think I'm crazy. Like, what? like, are you crazy? Like, and I really thought over the years when I like gained weight, I'm like, he will be turned off to me. But like, he never said like outright, like, oh my God, I love you or anything, like, all these years later. But I could always tell the vibe was still like, it was still.
Even when he came over to your house that one time, your first house, was it your first house when you were married?
Yeah.
Not the condo, but
yeah. He went there.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I was like, in my mind, I was like, what is this fucking motherfucker doing here?
I think I felt, part of me felt bad for him because, and this was the other reason we couldn't be friends anymore. This dude, he really, God, please, I hope he found therapy. He used to joke I was his therapist. Like, I really hope he went to therapy because dude has some stuff, obviously. But I mean,
probably your fault.
Obvious. I mean, I feel like part of the reason I stopped being friends with him because I feel like you're never going to move on with your life unless I cut myself out of it for you. But also, it's just like he was so down and out about everything.
Everything was a negative
all the time. And I would be like, have you tried? And he was like severely overweight. Like when I knew him when he was younger, he was like chubby, but like over the years, he became very, very overweight. So I would be like, oh, I just heard about XYZ. Have you thought about trying this? Have you tried? Like, he's like, I went to my doctor and my number's this. I'm like, have you thought about trying this? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, everything was not for him.
Yeah, nothing was for him. The last thing that happened, and this is what literally did it for me, is that I read, I audiobooked the Change Your Paradigm Changer Life.
I like that.
And I was like, you know what? This is what he needs. He needs this.
And the sad part is this was literally not too long ago. They still had contact.
Like a year.
That's too long to have contact with the psychopath.
Yeah, I mean that's a multi-decade situation. But I'm like, I think this will change your life. You should, why don't you do it? So he listened to it and he sent me back this huge critique of it and why it wouldn't work for him.
Like a 3-pager.
I mean, when he would write me stuff, he wasn't writing me 2 or 3 sentences, paragraphs, insane. And I was like, you know what? You don't care to help yourself at all. I'm so sick of hearing you complain and never doing anything about it. And like this whole thing has just been weird. I'm like, so this person, so here's my tip of how to leave a multi-decade toxic it was toxic for both of us, And I was just like, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be honest and be like, this is not good for anybody. This is toxic. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. It's weird. Like, we're just not doing this anymore. So I straight up said to you, like, this friendship is over. I'm so sorry. Good luck with your life. I really hope things go well. This is going to be good for you. And before he even wrote me back, I deleted him from everything. However, he did send me, I think I told you. If not, well, you're knowing now. He sent me because this was over like Facebook message. We weren't like texting. He did respond to me and he thought I wouldn't see it. Like he started off like, but just because we're not connected, you can still send me a message. So like he sent me a message back. I don't remember what all is said.
He did reply because you sent me the message.
Yeah. So he basically replied, he's like, oh, blah, blah, I wish you the best, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm really I was like, please don't go do anything stupid because of this. Like I was actually worried because I don't know. He mentally stable. I was worried like this because his mom died, like his father died, his mom died. His dog that he just got from his mom. Like, so he had a lot of like hurt going on. Like not like in one time.
Oh, you decided to break up with this guy when his mom and dad and dog died?
Like I'm just saying over the past recent years, all this stuff. So I'm just like, he was already in a place and I'm like, now I'm about to end this friendship.
You gotta fucking shove him down the fucking bridge.
Because let's see, I'm 37 now. We met when I was 13. That's a long.
Let's see. I'm gonna do the math in my calculator because I didn't.
That's a long.
I ain't good at math.
Okay, well, don't do 37 because I would have been 36, I guess, 35 or 36. But from 13, how many years?
23 years.
So let me just tell you, it's hard to cut out somebody 23 years later because I feel like part of me felt like he had nobody to be there for him, and that was me.
That's like family level.
Yeah. So I feel like it was that, and then I also felt like it was nice to know somebody cared about me. Like no matter what I look like, no matter how crazy I was, somebody out there cared and thought I was like hot as shit and everything. And the other part I was worried about what like how it would affect him. But that's what it is. And I just had to be, I'm like, and I have felt so free. I have felt so free. My life has been better. I know that's like, I mean, I don't mean that to be hurtful, but it's just like years and years and years of listening to somebody complain about love and their weight and like all their woe is me stuff. Like I've like, go to college. You don't want to drive a truck anymore? Go to college. You want to be in a relationship? Stop being so picky. Dude, have you met?
You're describing me.
But I'm just like, have you met yourself? Like, how are you going to be so picky about like, like do something.
Yeah,
like,
bitch.
Yeah, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I was like, you know what? Nope, we're done.
I was proud of you because I feel like like I said, I always sneak out in the middle of the night. And I feel like you said something, and that's big.
It was hard. My husband was happy. He was like, God, I'm so sick of hearing about his shit too.
I don't even understand why the fuck your husband was putting up with that shit.
Well, because he felt no threat. He knew I didn't care about him in that kind of way. He was just like, oh my gosh, another woe is me, whatever. Another day of this. You know? So he was just like, good. I'm glad. I want to hear these stories anymore.
I was over it the day I met him.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure most people were.
The day I met him, I was like, get the fuck out of here with this guy.
I mean, he's a nice guy, but I'm really hopeful that cutting me cutting myself out, I'm really hopeful that helped set him up like as a fresh start for life. I think he needed that because he like couldn't move on from the thought of me. Nobody was ever good enough. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know what you ever saw me. Like, I'm fine. I'm cool, whatever. But like, I'm not that, like, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not J-Lo, not Beyonce. I'm not whoever people put on pedestals.
Rihanna.
Yeah, like that ain't me. Anyway, all right. So now I'm clean and I'm free, and let's hear about your more toxic.
This is my. I feel like I feel like I would say that like the biggest, apart from the other friendship I had, probably like female. I would say this is my biggest female like friendship loss in my entire life. So, me and this girl, we met each other when I would say in second grade. I came here from Mexico, and her and I and my other best friend that I'm still friends with, and another girl, we created a little friend group.
Oh, a friend group.
Yeah,
you act like you didn't like friend groups.
I mean, that was it. And then
I didn't know that y'all all three were friends. I thought they were separate.
Okay, so it was always her and my other best friend. I don't, it was never said, and I'll ask her because I'm still friends with her. They never said they didn't like each other, but it was like
they were probably competing to be your best friend.
I mean, I don't know that. But then there was a third.
Okay.
And she was great. And she was also my neighbor. So we became friends, and this was elementary. We went on to third, second, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And our friendship always was strong. I mean, because she played sports and stuff. So we had periods of time where we were like closer, further, closer, further, closer, further. But when we got into high school, she had an online buddy who I think is at the beginnings of a catfish. And she didn't have internet. And this is when I was also kind of meeting my first love, and I was talking to my first love, emails and stuff. So she would come over to my house a lot, and she would talk to this guy. I still remember his name. And they talked about like meeting each other and blah, blah, blah. So we just quickly became even closer. And then we started driving. She drove first. She got a job first and drove first. So she used to drive us around. And we had a group of friends who, me and my friend, we were one of the few people in our, I guess in the in our class from the Hispanic community, their parents were still together. So we had that kind of like, I guess that kind of like security and stuff like that. So like, I wouldn't say we were like, we would have been labeled. I was like, maybe the goody two shoes, but I was still a bitch, considered a bitch. But so there was other girls that were like shoplifting, and we were like, I remember us having a conversation about how bad it was, blah, blah, blah. But the week before Black Friday, and I remember this, we went to the mall. And we went to Aeropostale, and when she came out, she was like, can you tell if there's anything underneath my clothes? And I was like, no. And then and we got to her truck or van or whatever, and she's like, I stole this shirt. And I was just like, oh my God.
You're running around with a felon.
And then
misdemeanor. I don't know.
Quickly that Friday, she's like, we should come back. And we came back to Black Friday, and we stole so much fucking shit. It was ridiculous.
That's probably easy because that mall, there's nowhere else in our little hometown to go shopping like that. No. And that mall was probably packed.
I mean, that mall doesn't exist anymore. But
what? Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 stores in it.
Okay.
So it quickly escalated to a full-blown fucking addiction. We were shoplifting in our lunch break. We were shoplifting after school. We were shoplifting every fucking minute of the fucking day. We were shoplifting. Okay.
I just thought this was like a once or twice kind of thing. No,
I probably shoplifted about fucking 20,000, 30,000 worth of shit.
Oh
like, I mean, she got to the point that she was stealing from her job.
That's savage.
Remember, she got fired from that job that we had because she was stealing from the people next door. Yeah, she got hired from the shoe department because she was stealing from the other shoe store next to us. Your manager fired her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've clearly forgotten.
She got caught.
Oh.
I'm not judging her. I was a shoplifter too. So that was not even the brunt of it. So we were so toxic together that her mom had an irrational fear that we were fucking.
Oh.
Like her mom swore that me and her were in our relationship. Like her mom would, and another thing that she did that really bothered me because my parents had a leash on me shorter than I was crazy. So my parents were up my ass. And I still managed to fuck up all this much. But anyway, so she would tell her parents that she was with me. And then she would go out and do all this hood rat shit, get caught, and it all turned around to me because she was with me.
And you weren't even there?
And I wasn't even there.
Dang.
Because my mama didn't let me.
Yeah.
And I did sneak out of the house, but I sneaked out of the house to be my boyfriend because I loved him and he loved me and wanted to be together. I was out fucking. I wasn't out doing drugs, partying, and doing stupid shit. I was just out in the parking lot having sex with my fucking boyfriend that I loved, and he loved me. But every single thing that she did, she blamed me, and her parents hated me. Her parents literally hated me. But it got to the point that me and my friend we were an us.
Yeah.
We were an us, a we. It's if it happens to you, it happened to me.
Yeah.
We would like cry together. And then I remember when my first boyfriend left me for someone else. I had never experienced such a pain in my entire life. And she was, I will say she was there for me full throttle for that. Like she was, but that's when she also went through something else. So she introduced binge eating into my life.
Oh, that was okay. So for some reason, I never realized that she knew your first boyfriend.
Oh yeah,
like I feel like
out together.
all these times you've ever talked about you and your first love to me, she was never there.
No, she was always there.
Oh.
I mean, to the point that when I wouldn't answer the phone, he would call her.
Wow.
After we broke up and he was with somebody else, he would call her to talk about me. Anyway,
like I just said, I did with someone. Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't. No, that didn't happen. So she introduced me to binge eating because I had always had a bad relationship with food. I mean, I mentioned in the other podcast about addiction. Anyway, but I never abused food. Food was always my BFF. Food was a friend I never had because I was an outcast and nobody wanted to be my friend. But it was never like an abuse until this moment. You know what? Now that I think about it, this bitch introduced me to addiction.
Yeah, because
I mean, I'm not saying it's her fault because I was already prone to it, obviously.
Yeah, but she showed you the shopping high.
The shopping high, the yeah. I mean, she also tried to get me to do pills and shit like that, but we never did. I never did. So, she introduced me to binge eating so quickly after I broke up with my first boyfriend. At this time, we're 18. At this time, we're 18. So everything was always my fault. Absolutely everything. Her parents fucking hated me. Her family hated me. Everything was my fault. I was the bad influence. I was the bitch. I was the one getting her baby girl who was a straight A student and graduated in white in all honors. And I was a fucking high school dropout who couldn't even take a fucking test.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in,
I look like a piece of shit.
I can see why everybody thought because I knew this girl, not like during all this time, like shortly after though, from when we worked together, but I feel like she definitely puts off the vibe of a
goody girl.
Like my vibe.
I've never been kissed.
Like my vibe.
But here's my whore best friend. So it just was always like that. And it got to the point where her mom did not want us to hang out together. Her mom thought we were fucking, literally.
That's so crazy.
I remember one time her mom called me at 3:00 in the morning and she's like, is she there? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, give me a minute. So then I texted her because this is when texting was happening. And I was like, what the fudge? Did you tell your mom you're at my house? And she was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh my God. So that was the end of that. But she says that when she got home, her mom was like, where were you? And she was like, oh, I was at Nancy's. And then her mom started like cutting and going in on her. And she was, I'm going to go take a shower. She's like, are you going to go wash what she licked?
Oh my gosh. So, but how did she not realize she actually wasn't with you because if she called you and you couldn't hand her the phone, how did she not realize?
I told her she was in the bathroom.
Oh, but see, me as a parent, I'd be like, well, I'll just wait.
Me too. Me as a parent, I'm gonna drive over there. We were literally neighbors. She could have walked to my fucking house.
Yeah, and she was just like, "No, we're cool." Okay.
So I mean, it was just a lot of things, and I just feel like I always felt like I was the piece of shit, and like everybody thought it too.
What did I don't know. What did your parents think about her?
My parents. Okay, I will say an instance. It's a long story, but I'll cut it. So she comes to my house at 6 a.m. on like a regular Tuesday. She wants to smoke the stuff, so we do. She fucking loses it, starts fucking taking off her clothes, starts tweaking like a motherfucker. And it makes me feel like this bitch is not smoking no fucking tree. She is on some fucking shit. So my high went down, boom, because it was so traumatic for me. So she goes outside, starts screaming in the top of her fucking lungs. Finally, she called the police on herself. So, yeah. And my neighbor was a cop.
Oh, yeah.
But she calls the police on herself. And my brother, who at the time had just gotten a DUI, and he was like, I don't want to be a part of this. So he like drove away. So when the police gets there, she's like tweaking. Like she's like fucking on like they were going to let her go. Her dad shows up. And her dad's like, "What did you do to her?" And I was like, "Excuse me, motherfucker?"
Blaming you.
And I was like, "What?" She's like, "She was here with you all night." I was like, "No, she was not." I was like, "I just saw her right now. Like she just got here at 6 a.m. when my parents left for work." No, sir.
Oh, so your parents were gone?
My parents were at work. Oh. So finally, she did. I don't want to get into it because I don't know if anybody will ever hear it, and they'll know who she is. But finally, she manages to get her ass arrested because they were going to let her go. But she manages to get her ass arrested. And then my parents get called from work, and my parents were just like, and then the dad's like, "Can you believe that they were smoking trees?" Or, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say weed, whatever. And my dad's like, "Oh my God, no." And then when they left, my dad said, "Don't you fucking ever smoke weed with a dumb bitch like that again. Ever. Again." And even the cop told me, the cop's like, that friendship needs to end.
Oh, so there were definitely signs.
Yeah. The cop was like, "That's your fucking friend, bitch. You need to run."
Oh.
So I think about maybe 2021, I did start like dwindling down because she started like ghosting me. Like I was a problem. Like she made me feel like I was a piece of shit. Like she made me feel like she was getting away from my toxic ass. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because of the way I talk, because I do have a very hardcore like demeanor, and I curse a lot, curse like a fucking sailor. I do. But I'm literally like one of those dogs that bark and never bite, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm just off-putting, and she just has that beautiful feminine energy. Like, let me bake you a cake, you know? So she started lying to me, telling me she was going to like do other things and just like ditching me. And then finally one day I'm like, I think I was going through my baby daddy stuff. I was already with my baby daddy. And I just felt so alone, and I'm just like, I don't need this. And then I just moved away to I moved down there, and then I just quickly just did the same thing. I just ran away in the middle of the night. I don't have any advice for you guys because obviously I'm a pussy.
It's advice of, hello, when you see red flags like I just saw, just go ahead and get yourself out before it gets that deep. Like if your friend comes out and says, "Can you tell I stole something?" Like that's probably a sign that person is. But when you're that young, but the people listening to us are probably older. Like you probably know better.
I mean, I'm a piece of shit too, I guess, because then I taught other people to steal. Mm-hmm. But we were children.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was thinking about what you just said about, because I remember when you and I met and became friends, you and her were friends, but I don't recall y'all hanging out a whole lot.
No, we were dwindling down.
But at some point when you and I were friends, unless I'm remembering it wrong, which is possible,
we rekindled.
The three of us got together at least once. We might like for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I only remember the one time we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We might have went and walked the loop or something together, but I don't remember hanging out with the two of you together very much. I could see your relationship, but I felt like there was a time like that y'all weren't friends, but then y'all got friends again, like after you and I were friends. I feel like y'all were friends and y'all were together like a lot because I noticed we were hanging out less because I think you were like attaching to her again, like pretty hardcore, but it didn't last for very long. And then for some reason y'all stopped being friends. But I don't remember you being friends with her like at all when you started having your long distance. I did. I thought it was over by then.
It was like semi over, but we did because remember that one night that we found out that your boyfriend was at a cabin with another girl. She called me at 3:00 in the morning. Remember, asking if she had just caught her boyfriend doing cocaine.
But I thought that was like the first time you talked to her in so long.
It had been probably like in a year. I mean, I know that our friendship ended when I was 21 years old because she made me a 21-year-old cupcake.
Oh.
I still have a picture of it. A 21 cupcake cake.
Okay, well then y'all had to be.
And we went to the only Japanese restaurant in town.
Yeah,
together.
Because I think when I met you, I was 22, or I was going to turn 22 that year, and you're 2 years younger than me. So okay, so within the first like year and a half of our friendship,
and
it was over.
I feel like I do. I mean, first of all, I hope this never happens to me again because I literally have like fucking 4 friends and I don't want them to leave me and I don't want to leave them. But I do wish that I would have said something. And all of them, like, you know what? I can't. Because I feel like I just run away.
Do you think because like part of like the times that I said something with both of my instances I mentioned, now with my first friend, I didn't say something here at the very end, but at some point I said this, how I'm feeling. Do you think you wished you said something because you would have liked to have closure, or you think just because you wanted to make them aware of like what was going on? Or
I think I wish I would have said something because... Not for closure, because I feel like I didn't have any closure and I'm fine. I mean, I got my closure when I saw her when I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I went to that party and I was being my loud, crazy self. And she was like, you haven't changed a bit. And I was like...
That sounds just like her.
I was like, you know what, bitch? I have changed.
Right.
I've changed so much. But you developed into a person that tells her kids she never got her ass beat down to the floor by a cop after she was high as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You've become that woman that lies to her children about who she is so you can look good.
Yeah.
And I'm out here being myself. And I made so many mistakes in my life, but I'm not going to lie about them. Except for the ones that I could go to prison for. I'm just kidding. But I'm not going to lie about them.
Right. Well, like you said, hopefully, I mean, I hope this situation never happens.
I don't want it to happen
like,
again.
When I'm thinking about who's left in my life right now, I mean, I guess you can always, there's not so many. I guess you could always meet some new people and you don't know what's going to happen with them. But if it does happen, I like to think that we'll be mature enough to have those conversations with people we got to let go. But as I'm thinking of my current circle, I don't see anybody who has to get kicked out right now. So that's good.
That is good. I don't either. Yeah. But I mean, I don't have a circle.
Yeah, but you do.
I do.
Well, I will say we don't normally name drop on this show, or we do, but then I bleep it out because, but we do have 2 friends that have the same name. Well, I guess we each have a friend. There are 2 of them that have the same name, and they have been so supportive and cheering us on. So we are going to name drop. So thank you to our Ericas.
Yes. I'm actually, she's my cousin, but like literally like 8 years ago, Erica's like, you should have a podcast. Before even podcasts were a podcast.
Oh, like she just knew you had the right personality for it. Yeah. Well, my Erica, like I wrote a book. I told her I was going to do this podcast. Like everything I share with her that I'm going to do, she just always like, she's the one who she's like, I'm going to read it. I'm going to listen. And then she actually does. And then I always know, Erica, I always know because you always give me like some highlights or some, some good constructive criticism. So I appreciate you. I know Nancy appreciates her Erica. I don't know Nancy's Erica, but girl, I appreciate you too.
Oh, I don't know your Erica either, but I do appreciate her.
Yeah. So yeah. And thanks to all you other bitches out there for listening.
Bye, bitches.
Bye, bitches.
I feel like I butt into yours. I need you to butt into mine so I don't look like a piece of shit.
I do butt into yours.
I butt in. Anyway,
okay.
This